Hari Om. Pranamaha. Let us study a little bit of Sanskrit grammar today after a small prayer. Pathami Samskritam Nityam Vadami Samskritam Sada Dhyayami Samskritam Samyak Vande Samskritamataram. Welcome. We shall have an introduction to Sandhis today. All of us would have come across the word Sandhi when we begin studying about Sanskrit grammar. We can see one sentence here. It says, Saha Mama Anujaha Asti. When we begin conversing in Sanskrit every day, such sentences are very common. I have taken one such sentence here. Saha Mama Anujaha Asti. Okay, now let's see another sentence. It says, Saha Mamanujaha Asti. We can observe that the first sentence has 4 words. That is, Saha Mama Anujaha Asti. While the second sentence has only 3 words. That is, Saha Mamanujaha Asti. The first line looks longer than the second one. The meaning remains unchanged, but the length of the second line is shorter than the first. This is what all of us would like to prefer, right? Sentence must be small, but the meaning must remain unchanged. All of us in our day-to-day lives also prefer this. We want maximum profits with the minimum efforts that we put in. All students want maximum marks with the minimum studies or efforts that they put in. Even businessmen want maximum profits from the amount of efforts that they put in. Similarly, even here, the second sentence is more preferable when compared to the first one. But how is this possible? How can I join the 2 words, Mama and Anujaha, into one single word, Mamanujaha? How can I do this? Now look over here. The joining of the 2 words, Mama and Anujaha, has given rise to one single word, Mamanujaha. Then, these 2 words, that is, Mama and Anujaha, are called Vigraha, while the joining, that is, the Samastapadam, Mamanujaha, is called the Sandhi. Let's see how this has happened. Okay, how does Padasanyojanam take place? In the first place, what is Padasanyojanam? The joining of the 2 words to give rise to one single word is called Padasanyojanam. We shall understand this in detail now. In the sentence, Saha Mama Anujaha Asti, Mama is the first word. Whichever comes first is called Purvapadam. The word that comes thereafter, that is Anujaha in our example, is called Parapadam in Sandhis. So, the joining of the 2 words, Purvapadam and Parapadam, is only called Sandhi. Now, look here. When we break each of the 2 words, that is Purvapadam and Parapadam, we get their constituent letters. That is Ma, A, in case of Mama, and A, N, U, J, Aha in case of Anujaha. Observe carefully. I have removed A and A, that is A from the last letter of the Purvapadam and A from the first letter of the Parapadam, and brought A instead. I repeat, I have removed the last letter of the Purvapadam and the first letter of the Parapadam, which happens to be A and A in our case, and I've brought A instead. How can I do this? The entire word has become Mamanujaha right now. So let's see how we can do this. First of all, let us learn about Sandhi Vikaraha. Sandhi Prakaraha is different from Sandhi Vikaraha. Sandhi Vikaraha is not the type of Sandhis. Sandhi Vikaraha deals about the changes that take place when 2 words come very close. What are those changes that take place? When the Purvapadam and Parapadam come close, then the last letter of the Purvapadam, that is the first word, is depicted in orange color. And the first letter of Parapadam is shown as green color here. The letter that occupies the position of the orange color, that is the last letter of the Purvapadam, is called Paravarnaha. Similarly, the letter that sits in the place of the green color, that is the first letter of the Parapadam, is called Paravarnaha. Now, when these two letters, that is Purvavarnaha and Paravarnaha, come very close, changes in the letters take place. This is called Sandhi Vikaraha. I repeat, when the last letter of the Purvapadam, which is called the Purvavarnaha, and the first letter of the Parapadam, which is called the Paravarnaha, when these two letters come very close, changes take place. These changes are called Sandhi Vikaraha. Primarily, we have 4 types of Sandhi Vikaraha: Adeshaha, Agamaha, Lopaha, Prakriti Bhavaha. One by one, we shall look into each of them. We shall take some of the simplest, very common examples to understand all of them in a very simple manner. We have the first type, that is Adeshaha. Now there are 2 boys. Let us call the first one as Purvavarnaha and the second as Paravarnaha. We shall name both of them. The first one as Govinda and the second one as Mukunda. These 2 boys begin quarreling. Then another boy named Ganeshaha gives his entry. What does he do? He makes an understanding between these boys, sends them away, but he himself stays back. This is only called Adeshaha. Now observe, Tatha is the Purvapadam and Iti is the Parapadam. We have taken an example here where Tatha is the Purvapadam and Iti is the Parapadam. When these 2 words come very close, then everything doesn't change. Everything doesn't change. Only the Purvavarnaha and the Paravarnaha have a fight, which brings the entry of another letter. This letter is only called Adeshaha, which is similar to the entry of Ganesha in our example. We have seen this earlier. So, Tatha and Iti, when joined, becomes Tatheti. Now, let's study the second type of Sandhi Vikaraha, that is Agamaha. Let's take the same example again. Govinda and Mukunda again begin quarreling, that is the Purvavarnaha and the Paravarnaha. Their mother comes and says, Govinda and Mukunda, please don't fight. So, the entry of their mother has stopped their fight. This is only called Agamaha. Now, let us take an example. Tasmin is the Purvapadam and Eva is the Parapadam. So, Purvavarnaha is Na and A is the Paravarnaha. The quarrel between these 2 letters invites another letter N, which enters the gap between these 2 words, but doesn't bring about any change in either words. It becomes Tasmin Eva. It becomes Tasmin Eva. Now, the third type of Sandhi Vikaraha is called Lopaha. Now look again, Govinda and Mukunda have begun fighting. So, Govinda thinks, hey, why should I fight with him? And he himself surrenders and escapes. This is only called Lopaha. One of the letters among Purvavarnaha and Paravarnaha disappears. For example, Shivaha and Iti are 2 words. Aha is the Purvavarnaha and I is the Paravarnaha. When these 2 letters come very close, aha, that is Purva Varnaha, disappears, which now becomes Shiva and iti. Now, the last type of Sandhi Vikaraha is Prakriti Bhavaha. Again, Purva Varnaha and Paravarnaha, that is Govinda and Mukunda in our example, again began fighting as usual. They have come very close and are having an intense fight. But nothing as such happens. Both of them have come to an understanding and become friends. Neither has anyone come, nor has anyone left. Let us take an example to understand this in Sandhis. Hari etau. There is a fight between E and A, that is Purva Varnaha and Paravarnaha, but nothing happens. Purva Varnaha also remains the same. Paravarnaha also stays in its own place. This is also one type of Sandhi Vikaraha called Prakriti Bhavaha. In short, let us summarize all that we have learned today. We have learned that there are 4 types of Sandhi Vikaraha, that is Adeshaha, Agamaha, Lopaha and Prakriti Bhavaha. In Adeshaha, there is an entry as well as an exit of a letter. There is an entry of one letter and an exit of one letter. When we saw Agamaha, we observed that there is only an entry of a letter, but there is no exit of any letters. In case of Lopaha, there is no entry of any letter, but instead one letter disappears. When we observe Prakriti Bhavaha, there is neither any entry nor any exit of any letter. In short, we have seen this. This is what happens in each of the 4 types of Sandhi Vikaraha. Now let us see the types of Sandhis, that is Sandhi Prakaraha. We have already discussed about Purva Varnaha and Paravarnaha. When only swaras occupy the place of Purva Varnaha and Paravarnaha, it is called Swara Sandhi. In Sanskritam, ach means swaras. So, Swara Sandhi is otherwise called ach Sandhi. That is, there is a fight between only swaras. Similarly, in Vyanjana Sandhi, only Vyanjana becomes the Purva Padam, while the Parapadam can be a Vyanjana, also a Swara in some cases. Such Sandhis are called Vyanjana Sandhi. It is also called Hal Sandhi, since in Sanskritam, Hal means Vyanjana Aksharani. The third type is called Visarga Sandhi. In this case, the Purva Varnaha is Visargaha, but the Paravarnaha can never be a Visargaha. So, it has to be either a Swara or a Vyanjana Aksharam. You might be wondering how only 3 types of Sandhis are possible. Observe carefully, we require letters or Aksharani for Sandhi, right? How many types of letters do we have in Sanskritam? We already know that the answer is 3. That is Swara, Vyanjana and Ayogavahaha. So we have Swara Sandhi, Vyanjana Sandhi and Visarga Sandhi instead of Ayogavahaha. This is all we have learned for today. We shall meet back again with each of these Sandhis in detail. Hari Om.